You wrestle with your CPAP machine every night? Tired of lugging it through the airport and on vacation? Hi, I'm Dr. Nick Kugler with the Washington Center for Sleep. We specialize in treating sleep apnea with CPAP alternatives. My patients have ditched the CPAP and get restful, healthy sleep every night. If you're tired of wearing a mask to bed, let us help you. Visit us in Seattle, Bellevue, or at wasleep.com. That's wasleep.com. Sleep better, feel better. That's the Washington Center for Sleep way.
At Shane Company, we'll help you create a ring as unique as your love story. We have the biggest selection of diamonds in all shapes and sizes, and center stones in an array of colors, including sapphires in blue, pink, green, lavender, and more. Just the other day, a couple picked out a blue sapphire that perfectly matched her eyes, and they left knowing her ring was truly one of a kind. That's what happens at Shane Company. Come check us out. You might just fall in love with something unexpected. Shane Company, your friend and jeweler.
Now, you've probably noticed the temperature starting to fluctuate, and that gets even more pronounced at night. Is your insulation ready for the upcoming cold season? Let me guess, you haven't checked. You're like me, you don't want to go into your attic or your crawl space. Well, that's why Crawl Pros goes where you don't want to. It's Mike Salk here. They came out to my house for a free inspection and found my insulation wasn't up to snuff. So they showed me pictures of the problem, explained it, and then they got it all fixed. Now, Crawl Pros has partnered with Puget Sound Energy to provide special rebates on insulation work. So if you're a PSE customer and your home was built before 1990, you may qualify to receive a rebate on up to 95% of the cost to properly insulate your crawl space and attic. Don't wait for the temperatures to drop. Take advantage of these enormous rebates today. Call Crawl Pros to learn what's going on behind that crawl space and attic hatch for free. Again, if you're worried about critters, mold, water damage, insulation issues, or anything else related to your crawl space or attic, schedule a free corner-to-corner inspection at crawlpros.com.
Are you a skilled HVAC tech looking for a top-rated team? Join Ben's Plumbing, rated 5 stars for exceptional service. Enjoy great pay and benefits, a supportive team, and a non-commissioned HVAC career. Visit bens.plumbing/careers to apply.
You've heard the saying, you never get a second chance to make a first impression. Since 1926, my family's been helping local businesses make great first, second, and long-term impressions. We know how to make your company look good with quality uniforms, logoed apparel, floor mats, linens, and more. If you're paying for linen service or doing it yourself, let's have the conversation. The information and quote are free, but the savings and service can really add up. Visit suplinen.com. Superior Linen Service. It's what we do.
Febreze. So my home is also my office, and before I can focus, every room's gotta be clean. That means tidying up, then spraying my Febreze Air Mist. Ooh, that's fresh. Febreze Air Mist scents are all high quality. They fight any weird funk, and they give my air an instant boost of freshness. So not only does my home smell good, I feel good too. After I Febreze, it's time to start my day.
Breathe happy, Febreze, la 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 la.
Everywhere you look, things are getting more expensive. So at Consumer Cellular, we're lowering the price for those 50 and up. Now you can get unlimited talk, text, and data for $30 a line when you buy 2. That's just $60 a month for 2 unlimited lines. So if you're 50 and up, make the switch and save. Come on, you've earned this. Call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit consumercellular.com today. Requires 2 lines of service, age validation, and credit approval, subject to system and area limits, taxes, and other fees apply.
Let's go!
This is Seattle Sports.
Streaming through the Seattle Sports app.
KIRO AM Seattle. KIRO FM HD2 Tacoma. Home of the Seahawks, Mariners, and everything Seattle sports. Seattle Sports Snapshot.
Tough news for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Their wide receiver Chris Godwin will undergo surgery on his dislocated left ankle injury and will probably be out for the year, while wide receiver Mike Evans likely will be out until after the team's Week 11 bye due to his hamstring injury. This all coming from Coach Todd Bowles today. Both of the team's star wide receivers injured in Monday night's 41-31 loss to the Baltimore Ravens. Meanwhile, minority owners Mark Lowry and Alex Rodriguez have $940 million in a bank account ready to wire immediately to majority owner Glenn Taylor and the NBA for outright control of the Minnesota Timberwolves and the WNBA's Lynx should they receive approval. This according to ESPN. Taylor has said he no longer wants to sell the team. although Lori and Rodriguez have an arbitration hearing with Taylor set for November 4th and would need to be approved by the NBA Board of Governors before being able to gain full ownership of the franchises.
Snapshot, brought to you by Miller Lite. When it's game time, it's Miller time.
This hour is brought to you by Legacy Group Capital Construction Loans.
From the Quantum Fiber Studio, this is Wyman and Bob.
On Seattle Sports.
Streaming live on the Seattle Sports app and at seattlesports.com.
Now, here are your hosts, Dave Wyman and Bob Stelton.
Welcome, everybody. It's Wyman and Bob. This is Seattle Sports on 710 and seattlesports.com. Happy Tuesday to everybody out there on a beautiful day outside. Getting a little chillier, but still nice. It's not raining, so that's a win. That's a win for everybody, Dave. I don't know if you're aware of that. Unless you're worried about your lawn or something.
Yeah, you know what? My lawn looks as good as it's ever looked right now.
Is that right?
Yeah, because we've been getting some rain, some good sun. So anybody that gives a crap about that,
we all care about your lawn.
I'm sure you do.
Yeah.
There's about 50 pounds of dog poop on the back lawn. Got to get to because it's been raining every time I go out there.
Why do you let it sit? Why do you wait for it to collect?
Because he's just out there the whole time. I don't know what he's doing out there. I'm not taking him on
You know
walks.
what he's doing. He's pooping.
Yeah.
Can't you just make it a daily thing? Like
this is no way to start a show. My bad.
We are 2 minutes in, and we are already talking about dog poop. This
talking
is not
about
a
poop.
sign.
We're in Dave's wheelhouse right now.
Well,
talking poop.
I'll say this: who's running the show? Yeah, Matt Nelson.
Yeah.
Apparently, this is the way it's going to go.
Lefko's on vacation the rest of the week, so we're already off the rails. Matt Nelson will be producing through this week, so anything good, he gets credit. Anything bad, he gets all the blame. That's how.
Don't tell people that. They'll tune off. Don't tell people that, Bob.
Pretty soon, I think he's in the process of making Brady, our engineer's hat, into an ass hat.
That's right.
It's my favorite joke to be a part of on this show.
He loves it.
Oh, I got to get arts and crafts ready.
We already have the two S's right here with me and Bob.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. He's going to put a big A somewhere on the piece of paper and stick it to Brady's forehead. Coming up on the show, we're going to catch up with Nehemiah Pritchett of your Seattle Seahawks. That'll come up at 2:30. John Boyle of Seahawks.com will join us at 3 o'clock. Of course, 4 o'clock, Mark Schlereth, Radio Gold, with us each and every week. You never want to miss Mark. That happens at 4 o'clock. And the same is true for this man, El Hombre, Michael Bradley, at 5 o'clock. You guys can text in throughout the show, 866-979-3776, powered by Mac and Jack's Brewing Company. We talked about, obviously, a lot of good things happen when you win. And you beat a good team in the Falcons. We'll see how good they ultimately are. But so far, this is the best win of the season. And there were questions or concerns probably even going into this game about the right side of the line because you were down to your fourth string right tackle who was a sixth-round pick this year who was termed a project, which tells you that's, okay, they're raw, they're not refined at all, they're not ready, they're learning, they're going to be here and hopefully develop into something. And now, seventh game of the season, they get thrown into the fire and like, all right, kids, sink or swim. And we talked yesterday about Mike Jarrell, and we had a conversation. If you guys missed that, it's on the podcast page at seattlesports.com. But came out of it feeling like he played really well. Now that you've had a day to digest it, maybe go back and look. Did we overstate it, understate it? How do you feel like he played?
Oh, sure. We overstated it.
Did we?
We overstated it. But
was he terrible?
No, he wasn't terrible at all. No, and look, I think that if you were to go in there, objectively and just look like you don't know who he is, and you're like, oh, let's just see what this guy looks like. There was some hit and miss, but when you consider his story, that's what I think makes it so cool. And, and I think, and we'll get into this. We're going to do roll the tape later. We'll talk a little bit about how he played and then also, just kind of how good Geno is and how Geno can make you look a lot better just because of his elusiveness in the pocket. He's so good at that, man. Mm-hmm. We talk about Tom Brady and I guess Aaron Rodgers, but he's like those guys except athletic, So I think he sort of brushes over a lot of the bad plays, but no, I mean I think at this point everybody's hyping it up so much because it's such an amazing story. But you go back and look and there were some times where and the defense not great. They didn't have a lot of sacks, and this was a team that was kind of kind of middle of the road or bottom of the pile as far as a lot of the stuff, run defense, things like that. But yeah, I mean, he played really well considering. And I think what happened is everybody is so excited about it, me included, the story and everything. And we'll get into that. But that's where you go, okay, you know what? You got to it couldn't have been that bad with a 20-point win. You're on the road.
One sack.
Guy, yeah, they give up one sack. I mean, but yeah, it was pretty amazing. And so, no, I don't think he played crappy at all. He just had a few plays that he very much looked like a rookie. And that's fine. That's going to happen to everybody. Everybody's going to have the welcome to the NFL moment. So, yeah, I went back and just looked at all of his plays and just focusing in on him. And you look at all of the offensive line. It's such a position where you're like, I looked a couple of times at some of the other linemen, and I'm like, that guy's getting knocked back, man. I mean, Charles Cross is a first rounder, and he, there's a couple of times where he gave up a little bit more than I thought he should. So, but yeah, it's always a tough one to judge. But I do think some people are maybe, going a little bit over the top with the praise for Mike Jarrell, but I think all things considered, that's what I came away with after looking at it, going, look at the situation that he was in and look at on the road. Now, the crowd wasn't a huge, factor, that's for sure.
You could have just left it at the crowd wasn't huge.
Yeah, what did Rabel say? There's lots of people dressed as empty seats or something like that.
Still can't figure that out, but okay.
Yeah, it was very strange. But yeah, I mean, there's a lot to like out of it.
Yeah,
so, that's where I think people got a little bit maybe, I think, and we'll hear from Big Ray, but I think Ray said something about pumping the brakes on all the enthusiasm and everything. But I think considering that you were able to do that, you got a rookie head coach, and there's something about, I think that says something about Mike McDonald as well, that he's able to all right, well, just get the next best guy in there. And I feel like he's going to go out there and play well. We've been coaching him up, and so let's go. And he gives that kind of confidence, I think, to the players.
I think some of the excitement, it didn't seem like it was problematic. There was one sack, and Gino is very adept at moving around in the pocket, as you said. I think part of it is we're so desperate for an answer on the line because it feels like you got one answer and 4 questions. I feel like that's true. Sorry, Laken Tomlinson. Sorry, Anthony Bradford. Sorry. You feel like Charles Cross is the guy. Yeah, he's going to have his moments like any other player. The rest of the line to me is still a question, and it feels like you got guys just occupying spots. They're not your future. Laken Tomlinson is not your future. You're calling blanking on his last name. Center.
Connor Williams.
Connor Williams. Mm-hmm. He's a guy. He's a guy who's occupying that spot. He's not your future. You hoped Anthony Bradford was. I don't know. Maybe he still is, him or Christian Haynes, but it's still a question at that spot. And then Abe Lucas, you felt like he's got the talent to be the answer, to be the guy you just count on year in, year out. He doesn't have the physical capability of just being available. And I don't know that changes. I'm not counting on him. I'd love it if he comes back and is great, but I'm certainly not counting on that based on how it's gone for him so far. So I think there's a desperation to find an answer like, whoa, diamond in the rough. This could be our right tackle of the future, a 6th rounder. What a great story. It's easy to cling to, I guess, is the point in getting excited about the potential of it.
Well, and especially as you mentioned that, you're really excited about 20% of the offensive line, and that's Charles Cross.
Yeah.
One guy. So, yeah, and it's a problem. And look, I'm not trying to make excuses for the Seahawks or anything, but I feel like a lot of teams struggle at offensive line. And, we've talked to Ray about this, and we've had this conversation where, I think you see all the flag football and all the, the great catches. And I mean, everybody goes out and plays catch. You want to go outside and play football? Let's go do pass sets. No, nobody wants to do that. Okay. The other thing is, you look at these guys, the receivers and everything, and they're, I said this during the broadcast. I was talking about offensive linemen, how they're just the most chiseled, best-looking athletes ever, and I'm waiting for Rabel to, bite on it, and I'm like, no, they're not, okay? But you look
he didn't bite.
Yeah, you look at these guys that, they got big guts, and, they got, these huge bodies, and it doesn't look like they can move, and really a lot of these guys are, they're really good athletes, but, it's just, I don't know, it's just not sexy anymore to play offensive line. And I feel like, coming out of college, guys don't get developed the way that they should. And, yeah.
We're seeing that. We're seeing it. I mean, we talked about it. We went back to 2015. They've taken an O lineman every year, at least one.
Yeah.
In some years, 2 and 3 in the draft. So they've been attempting to build that line. Guys just haven't worked out. And again, with all due respect to Connor Williams, who has been good, suffered injury. I don't think he's your future. We were hoping it's Olu.
Right.
I don't know if he's going to be the guy. He hasn't grabbed the bull by the horn, so to speak, to this point.
I think it's bull by the hands.
Bull by the hands? Is that established on the morning show? But, yeah, we're hoping Olu was that young, okay, you found your guy, the Outland Award winner, the Remington winner, and he played for a big-time program in Michigan, and that's the guy. And I don't know what's going on with him. I don't know what they're not seeing or what he's not getting, but he's clearly not their answer, at least right now. So, yeah, I get the excitement. I guess the point being I understand why people are hoping, wow, what a great story, and he is a great story, and maybe he will develop into it. John Schneider talked about this back, when they drafted him, about what turned him on to Mike Jarrell.
Yeah, he went to the Ohio State workout, had a great workout. He's a monster of a dude, and we brought him in. He had a great visit, great visit with the staff. Treated everybody in the building with a lot of respect. He did what he's supposed to do. He dominated at a level that he's supposed to dominate in at Finley, and length, size. He's a former basketball player that's reworked his body and he's still on the come. So it's a really fun shot at an amazing upside.
Yeah, and I think people, when you start to hear some of the clips that we got together, went back and looked at, when he was drafted, he said some amazing things. He's an amazing kid, so really easy to get behind. But, I on the other hand, I don't want to get too hyped up for Mike Jarrell because, a lot of times that first game when you go in and you go, okay, I don't know at what point, I think it was like Tuesday or Wednesday when they're like, hey, we might be going with you. That you kind of feel like, hey, if I go out there and screw it up, I mean, I'm a 6th round rookie, but now you've got a little bit to think about it, and then you're going to get game planned and things like that. So, I mean, I think it'll probably be a little bit tougher here. But man, this guy is so easy to get behind. Just because
you love his story.
Yeah, his story is amazing. I think everybody does, and yeah, I think that's one of the reasons that maybe it won't be fair for him because everybody's going to be expecting him to take the next big jump, and now all of a sudden it's like, oh, he's going to be as good as Charles Cross. Well, we'll see. I mean, maybe someday, but I mean, it's going to be tough to make that jump during the season, especially.
Well, here he is. This is after the draft, and talking about Finley. His school told him he was going to play in the NFL one day, and they, how they invested in him and believed in him.
Out of high school, I was 245 pounds. Under recruited, only played 1 year varsity, only started there and played 1 year. Well, started 1 year varsity. I played football all 4 years, but only started 1 year. Made the transition to offensive line. Finley came in, they set a vision. They told me I was going to play in the NFL one day. I just needed to put on the weight. Decided to go there. They invested into me. I invested into them, and the rest is history.
So, yeah, they made that commitment. They believed in him, and he appreciated that. And here he is talking about, the fact that they believed in him. He couldn't see himself leaving, didn't want to enter the transfer portal, go to a bigger program, which he probably most certainly could have.
Those are guys in my family. They believed in me, and they believed in me from the start, and I couldn't see myself, leaving to go to another team that, and they get the credit for what my coach and what the University of Finley helped build. And I wanted to stay there and give them the credit. And, it means everything to me to see Mike Jarrell, University of Finley, on the screen rather than another school.
That's unbelievable. I mean, for kids, we were talking about some of these guys that who was the kid we were just talking about where he got promised like $3 million or something?
No, he's a quarterback that was going to go to Florida.
Yeah. I mean,
Florida or Miami, one of the Florida schools.
I thought it was Florida.
Yeah.
But, like he's not going to get $3 million or anything like that. But, he had a chance to get in the portal and possibly get, enough to maybe buy his mom a house or something like that. I mean, that I'm not sure how much offensive linemen get, but as far as,
at minimum, he could have gone to a school where he's on TV every weekend. The spotlight is on him. His draft stock goes up. Maybe, who knows? Maybe the coaching's better. Who knows? He could have gone to Michigan or Ohio State or LSU or Clemson, one of these, high profile programs.
Yeah. Well, and I feel like also, he's going to be like one of the most watched players. I mean, look, we'll get into later. Like, is he going to actually, start again this week, or is Stone Forsythe still in the mix? What are they going to do there? But I think a lot of people are going to be watching him and love his story based on the things that he said, that he didn't want anybody else getting credit for it. He wanted to stay loyal to his coaches, wanted to stay loyal to Finley. And again, you go back and look at what he did. It did look like he was, if you look at his highlights, it does look like he's playing in front of a high school crowd. A lot of it doesn't look at all like college football. And then, the guys that he's blocking in college are, you see like 210-pound guys that look like they're playing flag football.
Smaller.
Yeah, but what is he doing? He's just killing him. He's crushing him, throwing him, 10 yards. And, he looks like he's a man among boys there, but that's how he should look. And, and I think this is what it says about his character is that, for a guy that is doing that and on film and like I'm sure in Division II, everybody's looking like this guy's the best football player on the team, that he could have taken off. He could have gone to somewhere else and, got all the things that you talked about, and he didn't. He's loyal. So easy to get behind. And, we heard from him. He's a great interview, great kid, really fun to watch. But like Ray says, maybe I would say just kind of curb your enthusiasm a little bit there.
Well, and that's where, Ray is our resident expert when it comes to O-line, getting into the technique and more of the nuance of some of these guys we talk about. And he talked about people, as it's labeled here, people need to pump their brakes a little on Mike Jarrell. He was playing not to mess up.
I would say pump your brakes a little bit. Like if your expectations aren't so high for a guy who's a 6th-round draft pick and the 4th right tackle on your team, because obviously he battled and he didn't, back down from the battle, and he stayed at the game and he hung in there and did some good stuff. But there was a lot of things too that kind of spoke to me that if you watch like a boxing match and you have a slugger going against a counterpuncher, sometimes the slugger kind of slows down. He's a little tentative because he doesn't want to counterpunch it to get him, when his jab is coming back. And so you kind of play a little tentative, you aim a little bit more versus just throwing punches. And that's kind of what I saw with Jarrell, is that he wasn't really like working to finish things. He wasn't like trying to kill people. He was just trying to make sure that, hey, I'm in the right place, trying to do the best I can.
Well, and that makes sense for his first start, right? You're out there like, yeah, I'm not so much trying to set the world on fire and draw a big spotlight. Just I don't want to screw up. I totally get that mentality of a guy that probably wasn't expecting to play at all this season. I mean, you got a list of guys in front of you that are hopefully going to go. So the idea that you were going to be starting a game on the road to try to end a 3-game, I mean, just everything that was in place at that time, going out there trying not to mess up makes sense.
Yeah. And the other thing that's exciting to me, I think it says a lot about Mike Macdonald of going on the road and starting this guy. And instead of, doing something drastic like, for example, Connor Williams can play all 3. And, maybe another coach says, you know what, we're going to put him out there and, get somebody else to play center, whether it's Olu or whatever. And, I feel like he has that kind of confidence. The other thing is this guy has a chance to be, here's what's exciting to me, is that, John Schneider, you get KJ Wright in the 4th round. Richard Sherman, when Richard Sherman got drafted, I was like, what in the hell are they doing drafting him in the 5th round? Just what I'd seen from him at Stanford. And Richard Sherman's maybe one of the best corners of all time. And I think he's one of the best tackling corners of all time. But I just think it's another kind of John Schneider special. And the other thing is, I think you see every year they draft guys and they don't always get thrown in there. Like Kenny McIntosh, that was a guy that they really wanted him to play. And I think that Mike Macdonald kind of trusts John and vice versa. And so, yeah, this is going to be a really fun story to watch. But, like Big Ray says, you've got to, it was really cool what he did considering. But when you look at him, I think, there's a few mistakes when you watch that. But later on, we'll talk about a play where he blocks up perfectly on a run play for a touchdown. So, there's lots to like, but I don't want to put too much pressure on this kid, but it really is a fun story.
All right, let's take 2.
Detroit Lions wide receiver Jameson Williams is facing a 2-game suspension for violating the NFL's PED policy.
Yeah, he's got a knack. He was.
What's worse, this PED thing or the gambling thing?
They're both equally boneheaded. I mean, there are signs everywhere telling you not to gamble. He apparently wasn't gambling on his team, but he was gambling on his phone in the building, placing bets on something else.
Oh, my God.
The PED thing. I haven't seen the particulars. I just sent the story. But it didn't specify, he tested dirty for this or he took that. So I haven't, unless that's come out since, I haven't seen it. But you know that, I mean, that's been beaten into your heads for decades now. You don't do it. So they're both equally dumb.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like every once in a while with the PEDs, you can kind of, go, well, okay, I shouldn't have taken this, or I was just trying to get better. Maybe it's nothing.
But the league has a hotline where you can check any product that you've got in your hand. You can call that number and say, hey, I've got XYZ in my hand. Can I take this?
Yeah, I guess to me, it's particularly stupid to be gambling on, and just because it's been in my head since I was a rookie, that that's just something you don't. They didn't even want you going to Las Vegas, on vacation.
Things have changed a bit.
But yeah, I mean, it's just so ridiculous. I mean, the guy was a high draft choice. He's got an amazing ability and talent and an opportunity, and to see guys. Which, I don't know. For me, I mean, it was the best 9 years of my life. I loved it. And it's a great, like, you're getting paid to play a game. Can you just not do the stupid things that the NFL has lined out?
Tickets to the Dodgers and Yankees World Series are reaching prices of almost $1,300 on StubHub, which is almost double what last year's tickets were going for.
Isn't that crazy? That's for game 1 in LA. That's the average. $1,300 for game 1 of the World Series. And I read that they were going for more for the games that'll be in New York.
Yeah. I don't know, man. I've been to a few Super Bowls, and I guess Super Bowl 48 was pretty special. Mm-hmm. But like the thing I noticed about it, it's a better product on TV. So I guess my question is, would you pay $1,300 just to be in the stands?
Hell no.
You can watch it on TV.
If it were the Mariners and it were the potentially deciding game, I'd consider it. Still would go back and watch it on TV because you want the commentary, you want the replays, you want those things you don't get when you're there in person. But it would have to be something that unique and momentous for me. I mean, if you're a Dodger fan or a Yankee fan, you've seen your team, unless you're 5 years old, you've seen your team win a World Series, right? You've certainly seen them get to the postseason. We know how rare that is for the Mariners. So for a Mariners fan like me, they're in a deciding game in the World Series, and hey, that ticket's going to cost me $1,300, $1,500. I'd certainly consider it for a deciding game. Absolutely.
I like that Matt throws in here that back when I think it was the first year of World War II, you could get a World Series ticket for $1.10. $1.10.
And then, according to his notes here, it didn't go up that much. Last time they played each other in the World Series in 1981, those tickets were in the $15 to $20 range, which sounds awfully low. Was that the lowest, like that's up on the roof?
That was the lowest I could find in all of my 5 minutes of research on eBay.
On eBay. All right. Well, things have changed. $1,300 for game 1.
I just don't know if it's worth that.
Yeah, not for me. It wouldn't. All right. Take Two is brought to you by Swedish Cyberknife. Treat prostate cancer with Swedish Cyberknife. Swedish.org/cyberknife prostate. Coming up, we check in on the locker room following the Seahawks win with Nehemiah Pritchett, who got thrown into some heavy action out there in this big win. You're going to hear that coming up next with Wyman and Bob. This is Seattle Sports on 710.
Seattle Sports, your home for Wyman and Bob.
Man, the Seahawks pulled off a game that I didn't think they'd pull off, Dave. And this team went in there on their home field and held them to 14 points.
Yeah.
It was a nice win.
It really was. And I just think going on the road and getting a 20-point win, I mean, that says something. Going out there and going, okay, well, we got to start a couple of rookies. Pretty incredible. And it just kind of made me reflect on what kind of confidence that Mike McDonald is instilling in these players. It's like, yeah, no big deal.
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
Hey, have you been considering surgery or even joint replacement? It's Dave Wyman here, and after years of football, I know about bad knees. So I recently had a consultation with Dr. Mark Wagner, MD, at Seattle Sports and Regenerative Medicine. I've heard so many patients rave about stem cell therapy with Dr. Wagner. People with severe osteoarthritis, even bone on bone. Well, they're back hiking, jogging, playing tennis, skiing, golfing, even just going up and down the stairs with the kids and grandkids, and doing it without pain and without surgery. Dr. Wagner's 60-minute outpatient procedure uses your own stem cells, which can regenerate your own cartilage in your own joints. Dr. Mark Wagner is a board-certified Seattle physician with over 30 years of experience, and he's performed over 20,000 stem cell procedures. And he's one of the few doing it the right way. So whether it's a shoulder, hip, elbow, ankle, wrist, or knee, before choosing surgery, see Dr. Mark Wagner first. Get the facts, then get back in the game at drmarkwagnermd.com.
Hey, Brock Ewart here, and the Harnish Auto family is so excited to team up with the Carol Milgard Breast Center in the fight against breast cancer. For every test drive this month, they'll donate $25 in both Puyallup and Everett. Harnish Auto family. People matter.
With Floor Coverings International, the mobile flooring showroom comes to you. Book an appointment, pick out the flooring you like, and they'll order and install it for you. It's that easy. Visit FCIFloors.com to book an appointment. Floor Coverings International, the stars of flooring.
Hey everybody, Bob Stelton here for Johnson Fitness and Wellness, where I got my home gym. Now the difference? Their expert staff. They ask great questions like, what are your fitness goals? What kind of space are you working with at home, and what's your budget? Johnson Fitness and Wellness experts get you the right machine for your home gym dream setup. And right now, in-store only while supplies last, mention this ad and our listeners get an indoor cycle for free with Select Force USA Home Gyms. Shop stores in Bellevue, Tacoma, Linwood, or visit johnsonfitness.com.
0% financing. Yes, Mazda of Everett is offering 0% financing. 0% financing available on new Mazda CX-5s. 0% financing available on new Mazda CX-30s. 0% financing available on new Mazda CX-50s. 0% financing available on new Mazda CX-90s. Shop over 600 new Mazdas available with 0% financing. Shop MazdaofEverett.com and click Get the Mazda of Everett price. MazdaofEverett.com.
Roof now, pay later. Hi, I'm Sam Thomason, owner of State Roofing. Take advantage of our zero down, zero payments, and zero interest for up to a year. We've partnered with leading lenders to make the replacement or repair of your roof affordable. Flexible financing options are available to take the worry out of an unexpected expense. Call us today at 866-ROOF-ROOF to schedule a free no-obligation estimate or visit us at stateroofing.com. That's stateroofing.com.
State Roofing, the last roof you'll ever need.
You gotta love football season, but when it comes to your windows and doors, you don't want any fumbles. Steve Rabel here, reminding you to trust locally owned Pella Windows and Doors of Western Washington to tackle your project. Their selection of windows and doors can't be beat, and they'll give you top-notch customer service with no trick plays. Right now, get 0% interest for 24 months with equal payments or 40% off qualifying installs. Schedule a free consultation with Pella Windows and Doors of Western Washington. Go to PellaPNW.com.
Subscribe to the Seattle Sports YouTube page to find new and exclusive content from your favorite shows and personalities daily. Just head to YouTube, search Seattle Sports, and click subscribe. Seahawks Insider, brought to you by Pacific Lamp and Supply. Now here's Maura Dooley.
The Seahawks struggled to stop the run in the first half of Sunday's game against Atlanta, allowing 116 rushing yards. But they made some adjustments and only allowed 39 rushing yards in the second half. Safety Julian Love talked post-game about what led to that shift.
Honestly, just the mentality. We didn't switch up too much. It was a mindset. I mean, he's a great back. He's a usually really good running back, and so it was kind of just a swarm game. You can't rely on one person to make all the tackles. We got to all get to the ball, and so you saw that a lot in the second half. It's just a mindset. We have to stop that run, and once our offense is also scoring, it's complementary football. Then they can't just keep running the ball all game, and so that's when we kind of came alive.
The Seahawks Insider is brought to you by Pacific Lamp and Supply. For the latest on the Seahawks anytime, go to seattlesports.com.
For many of us, it's happening. Your hair is thinning, your crown is disappearing. Hair loss had me feeling like I was losing my identity altogether. Well, I've got some good news. It's a simple one-day treatment that worked for me. The Advanced FUE from Advanced Hair. It starts growing new hair the very next day, and it's guaranteed to grow for life. We've all seen the pills and lotions that come with monthly memberships. Those can help retain what you have. But what if you want your own natural hair in specific areas like I did? You decide how much, how thick, and where. From Advanced Hair's state-of-the-art facilities to the world-class leading doctors like Dr. Perungo, it's not a maybe your hair will grow. It's guaranteed that your new hair will grow. For your free consultation, $250 off and 250 free hair grafts, call 425-449-8185. Advanced Hair is the winner of the 425 Business of the Year, and they are the team that I personally recommend. That's 425-449-8185 or advancedhair.com.
Hey, it's Dr. Coogan with Eastside Weight Loss Clinic. Summer's over and you've had your fun, but now it's time to get back on track. Stop feeling frustrated and overwhelmed and start being excited about the new you that's possible. We want to be your teammate. No gimmicks, no tricks, no drugs. Just teaching you how to turn your body into a fat-burning machine and keep it off for the long term. We know the secret for fast and lasting weight loss using real healthy foods and lifestyle strategies designed to reset your metabolism. Schedule your free consultation online at eastsideweightlossclinic.com.
There's a lot of things I love about this Eastside Weight Loss Clinic program, and it's not just the 35 pounds that I lost in 8 weeks. That was big, but it's keeping it off. It's the sustainability, and this program does it better than anyone else.
Our program has successfully helped thousands of people lose 20 to 30 pounds or more in just 60 days. You can start our program in person in Kirkland or virtually from anywhere you live. Schedule your free phone consultation today by calling 425-588-0080 or eastsideweightlossclinic.com.
Dr. Ryan Coogan, D.C. Results may vary. This hour is brought to you by Legacy Group Capital Construction Loans.
Wyman and Bob.
From the Quantum Fiber Studio.
Weekdays 2 to 7.
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
Seahawks with a huge win on the road against a red-hot Atlanta Falcons team. Held that offense down that was on fire, and a guy that played a big part in that is with us on the Emerald Queen Casino Sportsbook hotline. Talking to cornerback Nehemiah Pritchett with us. How are you, man?
I'm great, man. Doing fine.
Hey, give us a sense of is there a sense of relief after a game like that? I mean, it was a tough stretch, 3 games in 11 days, a 3-game losing streak going up against a hot Falcons team on their home field. I got to imagine there was just a breath of fresh air in that locker room after the game.
Oh, yeah, for sure it was. Just knowing coming off that losing streak, just putting our best football on tape, putting our best football out there. But versus a really good Falcons team, I mean, I think we did pretty well, and it's definitely some things we can still clean up and improve on for sure.
Nehemiah, how cool is it winning on the road? I mean, I always say, the home games, you win and then everybody goes their separate ways, but just kind of a chance to hang out with your teammates, whether it's on the bus, plane, things like that. Is it a little bit more special when you win on the road?
Yeah, it definitely is. It's hard to win in this league. Period, and especially like going to another team's home stadium, it's packed out with their fans, and it's all you got is your squad, your team. So I'll say it's definitely hard for sure, but it felt good.
Now, this obviously wasn't your first game. You've gotten some time in other games, but this seemed to be the most substantial game in terms of the stats and the time you were out there. How did it feel? How does this defense feel to you? Is it second nature now, or are there still things where you got to double check and make sure you're on the same page as everybody?
Nah, it comes pretty second nature now. I've got the playbook down. I got guys around me that's like Julian. You got Spoon, and just all of those guys just bring confidence as well. So it's been smooth.
And Nehemiah, they threw you in there in the Giant game, and you were really confident. And it looked like a couple times they had you, just singled up with no help over the top, and then you made a key play on third down. How much confidence did that give you? And, take us through that, because you got, like I said, there were some injuries. You get thrown in there. What was that like for you as a rookie?
Right. It's definitely a confidence booster. Like you said, when any guy go down on our team, we don't want it to be any type of drop off. So I just try to go in there and do my 111 and, hopefully come out on top.
How much does going up against guys like Tyler Lockett and JSN and DK Metcalf in practice? I mean, that's as good as it gets in the league for a lot of people. How much does that get you prepared for what you're going to face out there on the field?
Right, you kind of get like a different spill of each one of them because Lockett's the vet. All the tricks and all he's a savvy vet. So you just learn a lot going against Locke and DK. He's a more physical receiver, super fast, a good hand. So and JSN just a mixture of both. So I'll say it definitely helps you prepare for Sunday.
Well, and you look at this offense, man. Kirk Cousins, always a really accurate thrower, and then you look at Kyle Pitts, Drake London, Bijan Robinson, especially. That guy is just unbelievable. But you talked about going against Tyler Lockett and JSN in practice. How did they compare to those guys? You got 3 first-rounders with Pitts and Drake London and Bijan Robinson.
Right, yeah. Just going against DK all week, getting those Warren's reps against DK definitely helped with Drake London a lot this week. Just trying to prepare as well as I could for him. I'm a rook, so some I might not know all of the vet moves, but I just try to come in and do my part,
So in getting set for this game, are you a guy that will ask the veterans questions, or you just sit back and watch? How do you just sort of soak up knowledge going into a game like this?
Right. I just try to, if I have any questions, I just try to get all the answers from my coaches throughout the week. Like my Coach Carl Stott, he told me at the beginning of the week if I have any questions, no matter what time of the day it is, just shoot him a text, and we'll get it knocked out. So, and that just brings confidence. So I think that played a big part as well.
Well, Nehemiah, the other thing you guys kind of had a long break there, but the stuff we heard from Mike McDonald, your head coach, just no panic whatsoever and just very confident. How much does he instill a lot of confidence in you? And tell us about some of your interactions with the head coach.
Right, yeah, Mike definitely instills a lot of confidence. I think we had a really good game plan throughout the week for this previous game. He put us in the right spots, and he just trusted us to keep the top on the coverage and play well, complimentary football.
What's been the hardest part for you? Has it lived up to what you expected the NFL to be? Are guys as big and fast as you thought, or maybe not as much? Or how does it live up to the vision you had coming into the NFL?
Right, I played in the SEC, but like the NFL it has its different parts of it. Like the backs are a little bit, I wouldn't say bigger, but they just a little bit more elusive, So just trying to get all the little things throughout the week to help me prepare as well as I can. I'll say that just really helped me with slowing the game down.
And Nehemiah, we just talked to Michael Jarrell, and he played in a Division II school, but you mentioned you played in the SEC. I mean, there's no pro football in Alabama, but I feel like it's pro football as far as SEC goes. How much does that help you with? It's got to be pretty similar as far as the atmosphere and everything. How much does that help you having played in the SEC?
Yeah, I say that definitely helped. Coming from like big time SEC ball, you're used to the crowd. You're used to like the away game crowd booing, so you kind of get used to all that stuff playing in the South in the SEC. So I'll say that.
Well, Nehemiah, congratulations on the win, a much-needed win and a big one. So I'm sure that relieved a lot of pressure from everybody in that locker room, and certainly the fan base is excited. So congrats on that. Congrats on your play, and hopefully we get a chance to talk to you again down the road. Thanks, as always, for the time.
All right. Thank you guys as well.
There you go. There's Nehemiah Pritchett. If you guys just tuned in, didn't catch all of that conversation, you can find it on the podcast page at seattlesports.com after the show. And don't forget to click subscribe. Meanwhile, the Seattle Seahawks return home this weekend, and today is the last day you can enter to win 4 tickets to watch them take on the Buffalo Bills at Lumen Field this Sunday, October 27th. All you need to do is open the Seattle Sports app, click the Win tab to find out how. If you don't already have the app, just text the word app, APP, to 866-979-3776, and we'll send you a link to download it totally free. Meanwhile, Russell Wilson has finally made his Steelers debut. We'll get into some of that conversation coming up next with Wyman and Bob. This is Seattle Sports on 710.
Seattle Sports, your home for Brock and Salk.
First thing, can they stop the run?
Can they stop the run? They can stop the run. Have they shown and proven they can do it consistently? Absolutely not.
Yeah, they're giving up 146 yards per game on the ground. When I looked this up, the Ravens were giving up 59.
Did you look this up pre-nap or post-nap?
Post-nap. Post-nap, pre-end of the game.
Okay.
Yeah, it took a long.
So the show ended.
Yeah.
You go home.
Yeah.
You nap
Eat a
from
little lunch.
11 till kickoff at 4:30.
11:30 to 3:30.
Okay.
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
I have a handful of stories that really affected me personally in my career and how I handled employees. Lee Johnson, coming out of his office as a customer, asked me where the service department is. I was like, yeah, go to the end of the hall, go up the stairs, go across the breezeway, open a door, go to the left. You want Chevy, go to the right. You want Mazda? Because I didn't even have enough time.